Right now, a jetliner full of passengers lost at sea. An oil slick spotted in the Gulf of Vietnam is the only possible clue. Good evening, I'm Brian Andrews. The sun is coming up on the other side of the world where the search remains in full swing at this hour. Tonight, a Texas company says 20 passengers were their employees. 2 others traveling on the flight were flying on stolen European passports. The FBI is sending a team to the region as international law enforcement works to connect or disprove a terrorist connection. I'm joined in the studio now by CBS 4's Maggie Newland with more on the day's big developments. Maggie.
But first, they have to be found.
You know, Maggie, I'm thinking back to that Air France flight that went down off Brazil and how it took them, I think, almost 2 years to find the wreckage. What realistically is the chance that they're going to find this aircraft?
Well, Brian, this is a 777. It's considered a very safe aircraft.
Of course, they have to find the plane to find the cause of what happened. Maggie Newland on that story for us tonight. Thanks very much. All night long, we're going to have the latest on the search for this missing jetliner on our website, cbsmiami.com, plus the latest video from the search when you wake up tomorrow morning with CBS 4 this morning on TV beginning at 8 a.m. Here in South Florida, a situation at sea had a much happier ending than the one we just told you about. 4 boaters thrown into the water when their boat capsized off Key Biscayne were rescued after spending all night in the water. Gabby on the go. Gabby Fleischman live on Key Biscayne with more on what saved these men. Gabby? A working weekend for President Obama in our area with the First Lady for some R&R at the Ocean Reef Club. The White House says he made several calls to foreign leaders about the situation in Ukraine, speaking with the presidents of France and Lithuania and the prime ministers of the United Kingdom and Italy. Later, the president was seen hitting the links with sportscaster Ahmad Rashad and former Miami Heat player Alonzo Mourning. Before heading to the Upper Keys this weekend, the President and First Lady were at Coral Reef Senior High School in Southwest Miami-Dade Friday, where the President stressed the importance of federal student aid. She's a key player in a political legal drama here in South Florida involving a former congressman, a campaign opponent, and political contributions. Ana Allegro brought back to South Florida from Nicaragua last night. She was taken into custody at a beauty parlor, then brought to the airport in Managua for the flight to MIA. On Monday, she's expected in federal court here to face charges of campaign finance violations in a scheme tied to her friend, former Congressman David Rivera, who has not been charged. Allegro is accused of helping to finance a bogus candidate, Justin Lamar Sternad, whose only role was to bash Rivera's Democratic foe, current Congressman Joe Garcia. If convicted, Allegro is looking at a federal prison sentence and heavy fines. JoJo Nicholas, the former University of Miami player who died after a violent crash with a tractor-trailer last month, was laid to rest today. Family and friends gathered at the Glendale Baptist Church in Southwest Miami-Dade to say their final farewells. JoJo Nicholas would have turned 25 years old last Monday. He died from injuries he sustained when his car rear-ended an 18-wheeler on the MacArthur Causeway last month. Big commotion in downtown Miami early this morning as a fire broke out inside a Walgreens on Flagler and Northeast 1st Avenue before the store was even open. Firefighters had to cut through the store's iron security gates to get inside. They say the fire appears to have started in the pharmacy section. Venezuelans in South Florida joining hands in solidarity with their fellow countrymen protesting the government back home. The local Venezuelan and Latin American community coming together to form a giant human chain to raise awareness of the political and social unrest in Venezuela. This human chain in Doral was one of many similar rallies organized across the nation this weekend. Meantime, a diplomatic victory for the Venezuelan government as protesters continue to hit the streets. The Organization of American States approving a declaration late Friday supporting the government's attempts to use political dialogue to end protests. The opposition does not want to speak with the government until jailed protesters are released. Still to come on the news tonight, see what happens when a plane propeller gets tangled with a skydiver's parachute. Pictures you're going to want to stay up to check out. Plus, the families of 2 University of Miami students killed when they were struck by a car react to the news a police officer who failed to render aid will not be losing her job for her inaction. Their reaction from China is next. Also, the mother police say deliberately drove her van into the ocean off Daytona Beach appears in court for the first time. How much it will take for her to get out of jail ahead. And Google Glasses, they are the must-have gadget for techies, and they're not even on the market yet. What's making them so popular? When the news continues. Welcome back. I'm Brian Andrews. The families of two doctoral students who were killed crossing a street in Pinecrest last year are outraged. A police officer accused of doing nothing to help them as they lay dying in the street will get to keep her job. CBS 4's Maggie Newland again with the story. She spoke with the family from China. The Central Florida mom who drove her minivan into the ocean Tuesday with her kids inside appeared in court today for the first time on attempted murder charges. Ebony Wilkerson, who is also pregnant, is being held on more than $1 million bond. Her children, ages 3, 9, and 10, told investigators their mother was trying to kill them when she drove into the water Tuesday. Bystanders on Daytona Beach rushed into the surf to save them when one of the children was able to roll down a window and scream for help. New at 11 tonight. Take a look at this. Wow. A plane and skydiver become entangled, causing both to crash to the ground. And miraculously, neither the skydiver nor the pilot was seriously hurt. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says the 87-year-old pilot was doing takeoffs and landings when the plane got tangled up in the strings of a skydiver about 75 feet over the ground. The plane nosedived to the surface. The National Transportation Safety Board and the FAA are trying to figure out how this happened. Miami's Little Havana gets ready to ooze with great music and fabulous food tomorrow for Calle Ocho, a massive street festival celebrating our area's diverse Latino culture. Expect traffic detours galore on Calle Ocho as it closes for 20 blocks from 7th Avenue to 27th Avenue. This year's concerts include Daddy Yankee and Sean Paul. Cuba, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Nicaragua, Panama, you name it. That country will be represented. Oh, let's not forget Puerto Rico and the Boricuas. You've got everything you need to know about Las Calles Cerrado Mañana cuando tú visítanos en nuestra página web, cbsmiami.com. And for those of you who don't understand my horrible Spanish, you can find it at cbsmiami.com. Imagine, if you will, a tiny camera in the corner of my eyeglasses recording your every move and sound there at home. But just like the cell phone in your pocket, the new Google glasses could soon be something you will not be able to leave home without. CBS 4's Cynthia Demas tells us they are the hottest gadget out there, and they're not even available to the general public yet. And my CBS 4 glasses say, toss to John in the Weather Center. John? If you don't want to be an hour late to everything tomorrow, then there's something you ought to be doing right now, John Giraldi. Send us your newsworthy pictures and video clips. The address is pics@cbsmiami.com. If you shoot video with your phone, remember, shoot it horizontally, not vertical. Time to call it a night, but not before I remind you one last time to spring forward. That's right. Get an extra hour of sleep whenever you can. Have a great night, everybody. I'm Brian Andrews.